Is your child's school curriculum being shaped by a group accused of manufacturing hate? Millions of taxpayer dollars are now under intense scrutiny, with a watchdog group exposing deep ties between federal grants and the Southern Poverty Law Center's controversial educational materials. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow. We're talking about at least $385 million in support, much of it federal, that's now raising serious red flags. A watchdog organization called Open the Books has released a bombshell report, revealing that since fiscal year 2016, over $3 million in taxpayer money has been paid directly to the Southern Poverty Law Center from various public entities, school districts, states, cities, counties, and universities. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The report also highlights a massive, active $25 million grant from the National Institutes of Health, or NIH, that's funding a University of Michigan project. And here's where it gets really concerning. Materials obtained from the university explicitly state this grant integrates the SPLC's Learning for Justice curriculum, formerly known as Teaching Tolerance, into programming for middle school classrooms. The original application for this NIH grant, secured through a Freedom of Information Act request, clearly stated researchers would be integrating the Teaching Tolerance curriculum from the Southern Poverty Law Center into an existing middle school program and then testing it across 6 middle schools in Genesee County, Michigan. This isn't some theoretical concept, this is about what's happening in classrooms. Fox News Digital has reviewed 8th grade lesson materials from this SPLC curriculum. These materials directed students to a map of active hate groups and, alarmingly, suggested that organizations like anti-gay and radical traditionalist Catholic groups are placed on the same level as the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, and black separatists. Think about that for a moment. This isn't just a historical lesson, it's presented as current. Furthermore, other Learning for Justice youth materials actively encourage students to see themselves as part of a movement for justice and provide them with toolkits for sustained activism. This is essentially training young students to become activists based on the SPLC's agenda. Now, the Department of Health and Human Services, under the Trump administration, told Fox News Digital that this specific program is no longer being funded and has been redesigned to focus on reducing teen and family violence. However, Open the Books points to the University of Michigan's current project page, which still lists the active NIH-backed project as integrating the SPLC's Learning for Justice curriculum and even names the SPLC as a partner. And if that wasn't enough, NIH records obtained through FOIA repeatedly described the original grant documents as integrating the SPLC's Teaching Tolerance curriculum into the project. This has understandably drawn sharp criticism from Capitol Hill. Chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, Representative Brett Guthrie, Republican, Kentucky, stated, "Utilizing taxpayer resources to promote harmful, left-wing rhetoric in our education systems is inappropriate, and I support efforts to root out and expose organizations like SPLC." He also expressed support for the House Judiciary Committee's work to expose what he called the SPLC's nefarious agenda, funding, and tactics. This scrutiny comes in the same week the House Judiciary Committee held a hearing specifically titled The Southern Poverty Law Center, Manufacturing Hate, examining the group's role in distorting civil rights policy. Newly released information also suggests the SPLC may have funneled money to extremists it claimed to be fighting. Testifying at that hearing was Tyler O'Neill, author of Making Hate Pay, The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center, who told Fox News Digital that the NIH needs to address parents' concerns about this grant. O'Neill further elaborated that the SPLC's Learning for Justice project pushes critical race theory and transgender ideology, while simultaneously using its hate map to condemn parental rights groups and silence opposition by comparing them to the Ku Klux Klan. His message is clear: federal tax dollars should not promote this divisive program in schools. The University of Michigan's project page continues to state that the NIH-backed program integrates SPLC's Learning for Justice curriculum into a middle school program aimed at addressing racism and racial discrimination and measuring students' racist beliefs and behaviors. Meanwhile, the SPLC's current materials frame the program around educating for liberation, racial equity, and the deconstruction of white supremacy. The SPLC's Learning for Justice materials, reviewed by Fox News Digital, categorized anti-gay and radical traditionalist Catholic under the same hate group banner as groups like the KKK, neo-Nazis, and black separatists, directing students to their map of active hate groups. This is part of the SPLC's broader hate group tracking work, which has previously been supported by an informant program the organization has since disbanded. The Department of Justice has alleged that this program secretly funneled donor money to informants inside extremist groups, though the SPLC has denied any wrongdoing. What's truly concerning is that other Learning for Justice materials encourage students to participate in a movement for justice and provide resources for activism, including direct action, rallies, social media campaigns, and community organizing. Materials for grades 6 to 12 include tasks like writing letters to officials and organizing social media chats to raise awareness for social justice issues. Open the Books argues that the dollar figures they've uncovered likely understate the SPLC's taxpayer-backed footprint, as free classroom resources and teacher training materials often don't appear in spending databases. They suggest that there could be plenty more indirect support for the nonprofit that's not readily visible to taxpayers. Their report even points to a second investigation into the Pentagon's K-12 public schools that also turned up SPLC learning materials. A previous report by Defending Education found the SPLC's Learning for Justice program integrated into lesson plans in 169 school districts across 42 states, including classrooms as early as kindergarten, promoting themes like anti-racism, white privilege, gender ideology, and queer theory. John Hart, president of Open the Books, stated, "Taxpayers have the right to know what groups, like the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has financed racial animosity, are doing with their money." So what do you think about this? Is it appropriate for federal taxpayer money to fund curriculum that labels certain religious and LGBTQ groups alongside white supremacists and neo-Nazis? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. This is a critical moment for transparency in our education system. We need to know what our children are being taught and who is paying for it. Stay informed, stay engaged.